Hey everyone, Trisha Clark here, one half of Sparkle for Paper Crafts, and I have a couple things to show you today, but I thought for once I would show you my face because normally you just see my hands. So I'm sitting in my craft room and I have a flip through that I want to show you and then a new kit out from April Storm Studio that I'm so excited about and I can't wait to show you. I think I'm just as excited to work with it as I was Tempest Garden, maybe more, I don't know. So a lot's going to be happening this week. I am working on Be Happy Stationary's Petal Fae kit. I am working on a really cool Egyptian project I'm going to get started this week that I'll record some videos for. But without further ado, let's get into the final flip through of the Tempest Garden journal, number 1, because there's still a second one to finish. And then we'll do a flip through of April's kit. So here it comes. Here is the final flip through of April Storm Studios' Tempest Garden. Now, I know you've seen pieces of this. I've done 3 different videos, but we haven't walked through the whole thing from start to finish. So this is a piece of scarf that I found at a flea market and cut into strips that I loved the greens and the blues in it to go with this kit. And so there is that. And then we have this cover. Can you see the raindrops? Oh, I'm obsessed with glossy accents right now. So I've used a vintage doily here, some vintage lace, some vintage book page, and then this is a print from the Tempest Garden kit. I've used some Tim Holtz green fabric, and then some lace edging, just like every 3rd page or so. So let's get started on the flip through. Make sure I'm in frame here. This is where I struggle getting everything in the right centered. Okay. So on the inside here, we have this vintage lace pocket, the same lace that's on the front. And in here, we have an old flash card. We have a cute tag, and I didn't add anything to it other than printed the back with some coffee dye, added the raindrops on the umbrella to look so that it looks like it's freshly wet and freshly rained on. I just felt like it went so well with this kit. And then we have a couple of big journaling cards in here. This is part of a printed page from the kit, not part of the ephemera, but part of the actual journal pages that I cut out into a large journal card, added some coffee dyed cheesecloth, and then some of the ephemera from the kit itself. That back in there. And then this is also another piece of the paper from the kit that I layered with some of her freebies and some of the other embellishments and ephemera from the kit, along with the cute little bird. And this is on one of my own coffee dyed papers. And I added a little brad here just so that you have some movement. So that's everything in this pocket. And then we start adding some of the lace from Two Sisters Jam on these pages that I loved the prints so much, I didn't want to add anything else to them. I just left them in their plain beauty. Then some fun dyed papers that I had in my stash that I thought would be fun and looked really good with all the colors. And then created some ephemera from scraps and cheesecloth and prints. This was a journal card from the kit and left room for journaling here. This is some lace that I've had in my stash for probably 15 years, old scrapbook kit. And then in this, just took one of the page tucks. This is just a piece of ephemera from the kit, and then added these and decorated these cute little tags. Added a butterfly. And then these images are from Sweet Pea Curiosities, rainbows and butterflies. And so I added that to some Amazon packaging, and this is some paper, some scraps I had from, I think this one's Emerald Archives, also April Storm. So I took my scraps from other kits and combined it with a few things. I just thought these little girls were perfect, and this is one of the umbrellas from the Tempest Garden kit. Some vintage papers I had in my kit or book pages, and I really love the numbers, so I didn't want to cover them all up. And then in this pocket, this is 3 pockets in one here. We've got this one. Let's do that again. We have this one here, and this is from, I think, Gossamer Garden. And so what I love about April's kits, especially for Tempest, Emerald Archives, Tempest Garden, and Gossamer Garden, they all mix and match really well together. So when you have little extra bits left, I found that they worked really well together. So then we have this pocket, and we have this pocket. And this is one of the tags from the kit, and I added some twine from Michael's and some words and brads that I had from my stash. These are all embellishments from the kit. And then these are these amazing triple dyed papers from Debbie Epps. Love her papers. I just ordered a ton more. She does a really fun job of making them. They're gorgeous, but they're also grungy in such a variety of colors. Just some extra notebook paper I've had. Some more of that vintage Two Sisters jam lace. More of this dyed paper. And this is a piece of music paper. And this is one of, what's her name? Illusions? Is that Diane? This is some of her napkins that I just glued over the top of music page and added some of the umbrellas from the kit. And I love this little pocket. This I also got from Debbie Epps. And it was a dyed envelope. And what I did is I put it on as a belly band, but added some words and some lace. And inside we have another one of those Sweet Pea vintage kids pictures and an index card that I just put some scraps on to give it a little something. But it's a nice journaling space that goes right in here. And then this is also a nice little journaling spot. And this will go, get this in here. This fabric that I wanted to put on top of my craft mat is wiggling all over the place too. I was trying to have you look at something other than that gray grid that has glue and stuff all over it. Okay, and I just put a little tab here for that to close. And then these are the tags from the kits that I decorated with ephemera from the kit. Some old book page, and this was some of that same number paper, and I just tore a strip off. These keys, I want to say, were part of the freebies that April offered last month. And these were the freebies from Gossamer Garden and some vintage dictionary page. And I picked this one because it says gold. And this is just a strip from this paper. So really tying in all the scraps and of the pages that are already being used in the book. So there aren't any other pages in here from other kits, just vintage and dyed papers in here. All right, so this is an envelope that I turned into a pocket. And in here, we have these vintage flashcards. This was a piece of a notepad, and I just cut off the floral edge and put it on this vintage dyed flashcard. These are also from Debbie Epps. You can tell that her dyeing has a signature look that is all her own. Part of me wishes I knew how she did it, but I'd really just prefer to keep buying them from her. So this is the other side of that piece of paper. This was on this edge of this before. So that's the flashcard on that side. And as we flip over to this side, we have another little rainbows and butterflies girls with kit, ephemera, and cheesecloth. And we have another one of these flashcards from Debbie with some of Natalie with line dot arrows, paper hoarders kit. And this is a picture from a bird book. I just cut it out from a bird book and some leftover threads from sewing and tearing fabric. So just a myriad of things and some vintage ledger of scraps I had around that I just layered onto these tags. This is some vintage ledger, some more of that napkin decoupaged on there. And then in this pocket, we have this gorgeous bird. And this is all ephemera from the kit as well. This is ephemera from the kit, and I put this little word on here from my stash notebook. And then it's just a little coffee dyed notebook using some scraps and a little piece of Velcro. And here's another one of the tags that I layered with scraps. Now, I've had some comments and questions about, have I done any tutorials on how to make the ephemera? And I haven't, but I am going to do that with the second of Tempest Garden and probably also with the kit that I'm going to walk you through here in a couple minutes. All right. Now, the reason I wanted to do the flip through of this is I have said in the other videos, I was really feeling the rainy day part of this and feeling like April showers bring May flowers. And so we've had a lot of rain here in Arkansas, a lot of showers. It's turning green. I love that change of this season. These are fabric scraps from doing the cover. And I just glued those along the side and then hid the edge with that black lace. some more of that vintage ledger, and some more just layered tags with bits. These are scraps from the lace that I used on the edge of the pages, and these are the little bits that were left. And some more layered tags. Back here we have another tuck, and this is the edge of one of the pieces from Gossamer Garden. And so I just layered it on there to give this some strength. And then again, layered with journal cards, tags, added some more of those glossy accents. And layered some more of the Emerald Archives with some old wood-looking paper and some more of the rainbows and butterflies. Now stick with me, we're close to the end, and then I'm going to walk you through this other gorgeous kit. And there's a reason. So there's a method to my madness, I swear. So here's that piece of paper before I cut it up on the other one. And I just put this inside this envelope pocket for another journal spot. Torrential rains, local creeks rise rapidly, storms inflict damage. Like, that so speaks to me in the Arkansas, Oklahoma area between flash flood watches and this time of year. There's another one of Debbie's envelopes and a couple more of those tags, very similar to what you saw before. And have that pocket stuffed with another little bird card and some more notepad paper for coffee dyed notepad paper for journaling. Again, just have that little flap. The other side of that music paper. And you'll see it's just the other side of all those same papers. Aren't these gorgeous? I just love them so much. And then I took my fabric scraps. These are Tim Holtz fabrics, the vintage lace in the doily. It's what was left from making the cover. And put those into a fabric flip so that you could hide a little something under here. This is a double pocket that folds over the page. And I've got all kinds of fun things stashed in these pockets. Fairies from Gossamer Garden, more umbrellas. And on the other side, we have this from Gossamer Garden. Some little chicks in a teacup. Aren't they so cute? I'm obsessed with the birds right now. And this was a really fun journal card. This is a journal card straight from the kit, but I added some words and lace and cheesecloth and layered some of those keys to make it look like there were even more and give it some additional dimension. Wow, words are hard. All right, we're going to slide that back in here. And we're almost done. More of these gorgeous images. I love this pocket. This was inspired by Daily Dose of Hoppiness. And she was doing Pond Curiosities, a frog card. And I loved it for this. But first, I'll show you this cute little tag that I stuffed in back here. And just cut a whale tail out of some of the pages. And then this pocket flips up and there's a pocket here. And we have all these delicious, yummy little tags. Calm moments. I love sitting on the deck and listening to the rain in the spring. It's one of my favorite things to do. And so now that all the rain is past and everything is green, we have all these little birds in our backyard and they're chirping. And we have two birds that have built a nest, two different nests. And so we've had two different groups of baby birds born underneath our deck down where our hot tub is. And it's just such a perfect sign and transition of my favorite parts of the season. So this really celebrates those rainy days. And then April just came out with this amazing kit, which is really leaning into this part I love about this season, where now all the birds are building their nests and they're having babies. And I just love watching them learn to fly and watch the mamas take care of their baby bird. And right as I was thinking about all of that, April released this kit called Whispers of the Aviary. So I'm just going to do a quick show you the pages. It's a 40-page kit. It's stunning. There's so much going on here, and it's just so cool. And I've printed on the front and the back. We've got the bird's nest and the baby eggs. Like, this just speaks to everything I was just talking about. And so I had to do a longer video to share both with you. We've got the greenery of spring and the birds, more of those eggs and just this cool, grungy backgrounds that are going to be so beautiful to layer on. Aren't they gorgeous? Look at the feathers. And look at the little birds. Got an old book page with a key. So again, you can even see that these would go well with the other kits. I love this wooden page. I think it's so cool. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And so I'm obsessed with the teals. This one's upside down. So you can see the little pocket watch in there. And you've got the pieces of the nest, the stuff they find to build their nests. Look at the hummingbirds. Our hummingbird feeders are out and we hear the birds chirping out there all the time. They're just, I'm absolutely obsessed. How gorgeous are those colors? Can't wait to work with these. So many gorgeous birds, so much greenery. I love the vividness, but I love that they're also grungy. It's a really cool balance, I think, of grunge and florals and beauty. And then you've got the old wise owl. So those are all the pages. And then there's a top 14 pages of ephemera. And I've printed so these were all printed on 28-pound paper. 28 or 32 are my go-tos, depending on what I have on hand and what I could find that was the most economical. And then these are all printed on 110-pound cardstock because I like my tags to have structure. And April, I love what you've done with the tags because they're not so busy that I can't layer on them. And then some of them are gorgeous just as is. I think these are going to be really fun to work with. And then you've got your pockets to go on the bottom of those tags. I mean, just look at how pretty that's going to be. So excited. Let's these beautiful tags and more of those tag pockets, or you can just use them as pockets. Probably do a little bit of a combination of both. Got some, what I would think of as specimen cards that you could put some little things in. Aviary of Whispers, that's the name of it. And all these beautiful little journal cards. These journal cards. And then you've got more of these tags. Oh, you could add so much to these, whether you want to stamp more on them, add color, add lace. And I love that you added the labels. It was one of the things I was missing in the other kits and went to find my own in my stash, but I'm so glad you added these labels. Look at these fussy cuts, you guys. Oh, I'm not sure you meant to keep that on there, but look at these gorgeous birds. Beautiful. These look like great little notebooks, journal cards, library cards. Look at them. Is that the last page? I think it is. I think the rest of these are things that I printed. Nope, there's more. Oh, there's a random coffee dye. There's a few more. Bird cages. Now these, I think, are, no, oh my, I don't know what my printer was doing. We've got a couple of randos in here. Some more fussy cuts and ephemera. And then I printed several of the pages, 2 to a page, so that I could make larger pockets, flips, and other ephemera. And these are just duplicates of the pages you've already seen, but printing them 2 to a page gives me some more flexibility in being able to do a full page pocket or a flip or something of that nature. So I can't wait to work with it. I can't wait to hear what you think in the comments. And if there's a certain type of ephemera that you want to see how I make, please comment below. But go check out the kit. The link to the kit is in the description below. If you haven't played with her kits, go find them. They're just absolutely gorgeous. That is what I will be working on for the next week, is the Aviary of Whispers. April, thank you again for such gorgeous kits that just keep me inspired when I was starting to feel a little bit stale. So thanks again, and let me know what you want to see. I'll see you guys in the next video.